Hello again. I want to talk now about working with the machine menu and working a little bit with VMs. We're still exploring the VirtualBox GUI, which I showed you in a previous video. Just for the sake of review, we are here. I talked about the file menu in a previous video. We're talking about the machine menu here and all of the options available for it. So, you can create new virtual machines, add new virtual machines if you have already created them, but VirtualBox doesn't seem to have found them. You can clone them, you can remove them, you can start them, you can pause them, you can access their settings, um, you can reset them, close them, or discard a saved state. Now, so you can also do things like show the logs, show an explorer, create a desktop on the shortcut to a specific VM, sort them, things like that. Kind of like this. The virtual machine settings window actually looks, in some ways, rather similar to, I mean, the layout is the same. The options are different from your file menu. So you can change a lot of your settings, system settings, display settings, storage settings. Say, for example, if you forget to give it an ISO image, you can go in there into storage and point it that way. You can change the name of the VM. Now, note, if you change the name of the VM, that does not rename the VDI, unfortunately. You can make you can make changes about some of the key hardware considerations, like how much memory it has. That's the big one. You can also, if your platform supports it, do things to change the number of virtual CPUs it has available, possibly the number of cores it can pretend to have, and so on and so forth. And so there's that. In terms of working with those virtual machines, when you start a VM, the guest OS window opens. You can think of this in VMware terms, this is the console. It'll show you the VM desktop, whatever is going on there. Even if it is a non-graphical system, say, for example, you spin up a version of a Windows server, let's say the server core version with no GUI, or a headless version of Fedora, the Fedora server, Red Hat server, Ubuntu, Debian, whatnot. If you forego the GUI, it is still going to show you what would be on the screen. Now, one of the things to note there is you might not have a mouse. If it doesn't know it has a GUI, it may not pay attention to the mouse. You have to work a little harder to get your mouse back. If you click in and you can't think of any other way to rescue it, you hit your right control key and nothing happens. You can just full screen it, reduce it again, and it will let go. As you look at these machine options, there's a couple of other options here. You can go, settings will take you into that settings menu I showed you before. Take snapshot will, of course, take a snapshot. Now, if you do too many of these, you might cause some problems for yourself. You just need to think long and hard about having a long chain of snapshots, because they're going to accumulate cruft, as it were, on your system. Cruft is sort of the technological or digital equivalent of Destabanese, of Caselint. Think of it like that. You can look at your session information, how much data is it reading, how long it's been up, current screen resolution. You can also do things like manipulate it externally. You can pause it, not a bad idea. You can reset it, or shut it down, or power it off. Now, if you have a VM that is giving you trouble, and you pause it, that's okay. Or say, for example, you're working on a laptop system, and you're in one place, and you need to move to another place, and you don't want to worry about the thing powering off. You can pause it, shut close things down, walk away, come back, start it up again, no problem. Really and truly, you shouldn't use these reset, shutdown, or ACPI options in the hypervisor until you have tried and failed to manipulate the guest OS itself. That is the right way to do it. Let the guest OS reboot itself. Let the guest OS shut itself down. Um, Close out all its file handles, deallocate all its memory, um, close all its services, close all its TCP sessions, the whole 9 yards. If you just unplug it, modern OSs don't really handle that well. You may get away with it once or twice, or even a dozen times. But in the long run, you're introducing file system corruption by doing it that way. Particularly, say, if you do this and you come back and you boot it again, and a Windows NT VM kicks over into NTFS, or a Linux-based or Unix-based VM kicks over into FS check, that's a real clear indication that you need to shut things down gracefully, because the file system has gone stupid on you, or has been corrupted on you. Thanks. I'll move to the next video. We're going to talk about adding and removing VMs. That's kind of the core of what we're going to do here, is the adding and the removing. We'll get to snapshots and network management a little bit later. Thanks, and I'll be right back.